Good evening, everyone. My name is Aman Singh. Today, I am going to explain Introduction to Big Data. Let's start the topic. Definition of Big Data is Big data is an evolving term that describes any voluminous amount of structure, semi-structured, and unstructured data that has the potential to be mined for information. Big data challenges include capturing data, data storage, data analysis, searching, sharing, transferring, visualization, querying, updating, and information privacy. Now, characteristic of big data. First is volume. The name big data itself is related to a size which is enormous. Size of data plays very crucial role in determining value of data. Also, whether a particular data can actually be considered as a big data or not is dependent upon volume of data. Hence, volume is one characteristic which needs to be considered while dealing with big data. Now, second is variety. Variety refers to heterogeneous sources and the nature of data, both structure and semi-structure. During earlier days, spreadsheet databases were the only sources of data considered by most of the applications. Nowadays, data is in the form of email, photo, video, monitoring devices, PDF, etc. is also being considered in the analysis application. This variety of unstructured data was a certain issue for storage, mining, and analyzing data. Now, third is velocity. The term velocity refers to the speed of generation of data, how fast the data is generated and processed to meet the demand, determine real potential in the data. Big data velocity deals with the speed at which data flow in from sources like business process, application logs, network, and social media sites. Now, fourth is variability. This refers to the inconsistency which can be shown by the data at time, thus hampering the process of being able to handle and manage the data effectively. Now, what are the applications of big data? Some of the industries propelled by big data analytics are: first is public sector services, healthcare contribution, learning services, insurance services, industrialized and natural resources. Now, real-time data application. Procurement with big data. Second is big data in product development, big data in manufacturing sector, big data for product distribution, big data in marketing field, price management using big data, big data in sales, stores operation using big data in human resources, big data in banking, big data in finance sector, and etc. Now, big data versus traditional data. The major difference between traditional data and big data are discussed below. First, data architecture. Traditional data use centralized databases architecture in which large and complex problems are solved by a single computer system. Centralized architecture is costly and ineffective to process large amounts of data. Big data is based on the distributed database architecture, where a large block of data is solved by dividing it into several smaller sizes. Then the solutions to a problem is computed by several different computers present in a given computer network. The computer communicate to each other in order to find solution to a problem. The distributed database provides better computing, lower price, and also improve the performance as compared to the centralized database system. This is because centralized architecture is based on the mainframe, which are not as economic as microprocessors. In distributed database system, also the distributed database has more computational power as compared to the centralized database system, which is used to manage traditional data. Now, what are the types of data? Traditional database systems are based on the structured data. Traditional data is stored in fixed format or filled in a file. Example of the unstructured data include relational database system RDBMS and the spreadsheets, which only answer to the question about what happened. Traditional database only provides an insight to a problem at a small level. However, in order to enhance the ability of an organization to gain more insights into the data and also to know about metadata, unstructured data is used. Big data uses the semi-structured and unstructured and improve the variety of data gathered from different sources like customer, audience, or subscribers. After the collection, big data transfer it into knowledge-based information. Volume of data. The traditional data system can store only small amount of data ranging from gigabyte to terabyte. However, big data helps to store and process large amount of data which consists of hundreds of terabytes of data or petabytes of data, and the storage of massive amount of data would reduce the overall cost for storing and helping in providing business intelligence. Now data schema. Big data use dynamic schema for data storage. Both the unstructured and structured information can be stored, and any schema can be used since the schema is applied only after a query is generated. Big data is stored in raw format and then the schema is applied only when the data is to be read. This process is beneficial in preserving the information present in the data. The traditional database is based on fixed schema which is static in nature. In traditional database, data cannot be changed once it is saved, and this is only during write operation. Now data relationship. In the traditional database system, relationship between the data item can be explored easily as the number of information stored in is small. However, big data contain massive or voluminous data, which increase the level of difficulty in figuring out the relation between the data item. Scaling. Scaling refers to demand of the resources and servers required to carry out the computation. Big data is based on the scale out of architecture under which the distributed approaches for computing are employed, which more than one server. So the load of the computation is shared with single application based system. However, achieving the scalability in the traditional database is very difficult because the traditional database run on the single server and require expensive server to scale up. High cost of traditional data. Traditional database systems require complex and expensive hardware and software in order to manage large amount of data. Also, moving the data from one system to another require more number of hardware and software resources, which increase the cost significantly. While in case of big data, as the massive amount of data is segregated between various systems, the amount of data increases. So use of big data is quite simple. Make use of commodity hardware and open source software to process the data. Now, risk of big data. Data security. This risk is obvious and often uppermost in our mind when we are considering the logistics of data collection and analysis. Data theft is a rampant and growing area of crime, and attacks are getting bigger and more damaging. The bigger your data, the bigger the target it presents to criminals with a tool to steal and sell it. In case of Target, hackers stole credits and damaged information of 40 million customers, as well as personal identifying information such as email and geographical addresses up to 110 million people. Now, second is data privacy, closely related to the issue of security and privacy. But in addition to ensuring that people personal data are safe from criminal, you need to be sure that sensitive information that you are storing and collecting is not going to be divulged through less malevolent but equally damaging misuse by yourself or by people to whom you delegated responsibility for analyzing and reporting it. Now, fourth point is cost. Data collection, aggregation, storage, analysis, and reporting all cost money. On top of this, there will be compliance cost to avoid falling fall on the issue. I reached in the privacy point. Bad analytic. Structure of big data. So this is the structure of the big data where now what are the challenges of conventional system? In the past, the term analytic has been used in the business intelligence world to provide the tools and intelligence to gain insight into the data through fast, consistent, interactive access to a wide variety of possible views of information. Data mining has been used in enterprises to keep pace. So thank you. That's all for big data.